guys, welcome back. We have a new week of astrology to get into. This is another big week energetically. We are starting out in more of this very amped up, electrified. You could be picking up a sense of electricity in the air, kind of high strung, high anxiety, Uranian Mars energy that is coming through even more amplified, honestly, on Monday than it has been this past week ever since the full moon in Sag came in and we've had that Mars-Uranus square being activated. That's because on Monday, the moon transiting through the end of Aquarius is going to hit that square exactly. And Mars and Uranus both change degrees. They both move from the 28th to the 29th, last critical degree of their fixed sign on Monday as well. So we've got another exact Mars-Uranus square now at the 29th degree of Leo and Taurus on Monday. That is real powerful. And the moon is right there in the sign of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, amplifying this energy, opposing Mars and Leo, squaring Uranus and Taurus. This is epic, like dynamic, active change. This is a very transitional point in time. And this is also representing to me kind of like a mass collective karmic clearing, and life and events and circumstances are likely to be playing out in ways that reflect that. Now, as we move from Monday into Tuesday, there's a pretty dynamic vibe shift that goes on because remember, Mars was at that 29th degree of Leo in that fixed T-square. So Mars leaves Leo, enters a sign of Virgo. That's a planet changing signs. This is a big vibe shift. This is Mars. This is our energy levels. This could feel like energy sort of drops off a cliff a bit. This is going to ground things out. This is going to cool things down. This is going to like bring us back, like attach us to the earth again a little bit. And I think that this is going to be probably quite palpable. The way that things feel and are on Monday is going to, I think, be quite drastically different than how they are Tuesday moving into Wednesday and the rest of the week. And we've got a ton of energy to talk about, you guys, as we get this week started. So let's do it. Let's get into the report. Let's take a closer look at all that we've got going on as we enter our week this week and how things are unfolding as we proceed through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, June 16th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We are going to do that at the end. We've got a lot of astrology to get into. As I mentioned in my intro, you guys, this week does start off with a bang or a firework or things just not being normal for some reason. I would expect that a lot of people are doing something on Monday that is not normally what they're doing on a Monday, or that there is just something out of the ordinary about the nature of the day itself. We have this Mars-Uranus energy, as I mentioned in my intro, that we have been moving through over the course of this past couple of days that really began kicking itself up with that full moon in Sag that happened last Wednesday, reaching essentially its peak as we hit the energy of Monday. Now, as I said, after Monday, after Mars and Uranus come to this 29 degree fixed T-square with the moon on Monday, like again, like hit the utmost of this energy, things sort of drop. Mars enters, or Mars leaves Leo, enters Virgo. That's going to bring a major vibe shift. Virgo is an earth sign. We've been dealing with this electric Uranian energy. This is going to ground things out. This is going to be like the live wire being repaired and plugged back in somehow. So things are going to shift, and this vibe shift that we are moving towards with Mars moving into Virgo now, I do think it is going to be quite productive, and I think we're going to have the energy to get a lot of things done as we move throughout the course of the rest of the week, and we will get there as we move through the report. But we need to start with Monday, and we need to start with the presence of this like extreme hypercharged 29 degree fixed T-square. What do I always tell you guys about the moon? It is like the most consistent thing. Whenever there is some big, major, significant activation transit happening that is likely on its own to like produce some type of tangible or noticeable impact in our lives and in our world, I almost always find that the moon is somehow involved in a way that is enhancing the energy or the like dynamism or like the weight of that energetic impact. And yet again, the day that we literally have Uranus moving to 29 degrees, the very last degree of the sign of Taurus, preparing to start a brand new transit through the sign of Gemini, which is something that we are going to be starting to talk about soon. Actually, we're going to be talking about a little bit of the inklings of that energy that's going to be coming in over the next 7 years in the report for today. But as Uranus hits that very, very last degree, and that's happening in July, by the way, July 7th is when Uranus enters Gemini. But as Uranus hits that very, very last 29th degree of the sign of Taurus today, tightening yet again the exact square to Mars, because remember, over the weekend, like Friday, Saturday into Sunday, Mars and Uranus were an exact square, but this was happening at the 28th degree of the sign, and then Mars broke that square, moved a degree ahead, hit the last degree of Leo, and then on Monday, Uranus actually moves forward, hits the last degree of the sign of Taurus. Yet again, we have a perfect to the degree square between Mars and Uranus, and who else just happens to be making their exact appearance through the end of the sign of Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, who is the planet obviously that's in the square to Mars, that is creating all of these like big changes and all of this dynamism and unpredictability and sudden change and everything right now. Everything that essentially has been characterizing this past week has had a lot to do with the Uranian influence. And now, just in time for these two planets to be at this last very critical degree of their journeys through their signs, the 29th degree, we also have the moon at 29 degrees of the sign of Aquarius, opposing Mars and Leo, squaring Uranus and Taurus, and just putting the exclamation point, you guys, on the end of what may have been a bit of a chaotic, wild ride this past week, or there could have just been some major changes that went on. These are very transitional moments, I think we can say, to put it mildly. And yet again, on Monday, this is just all over the nature of the way that energy is playing out. It is likely to be an unusual day, you know, as I was mentioning in my intro. Changes to plans, things not going as expected, nervous tension, anxiety, electricity in the air, a sense of anticipation, like something's going to happen, sudden shocks, and people acting rebellious and impulsive and wild. All of these same Uranian cues that have been so relevant over this past couple of days. I mean, because this energy was activated, as I said, with that full moon last week. And then we had the exact square happen Friday through Sunday, and then on Monday we get the re-triggering of that square as they both hit the 29 degree and the moon comes through. So more of the same, but taken up, I would say, to an even greater level. So you might be feeling like you're having a hard time kind of keeping your feet on the floor as we enter the week and move into Monday. It could just feel like a rush for some reason. There could also have been a difficulty sleeping, or, you know, again, this just sense of like anxiety or nervous tension or anticipation of something, but maybe not necessarily able to like put your finger on what it is, or just like weird off the wall stuff going on. This energy does not want to be contained. It will rebel against and resist limitations and control that are placed on it essentially in any capacity. As we've been talking about, the need to feel free, especially to be the authentic self, with Mars in the sign of Leo opposed the moon in Aquarius, or to express ourselves freely in some type of way. Like, this could be a major theme of this energy somehow, like a lack of tolerance for anything that is stifling to our personal self-expression or like our own authenticity. But generally, I would one thing that you probably can expect in this energy is a degree of non-compliance. It is rebellion and it is a revolutionary type of energy. And the fact that we also, let's not forget, you guys, we also have another big square happening in the sky right now. And that is Jupiter in the sign of Cancer at 1 degree, squaring Saturn in the sign of Aries at 1 degree, with Neptune right there as well. Big planets, big cardinal square on the outskirts of this big last degree mute or fixed sign square with more big planets. Isn't it interesting? We have 2 squares going on at the same time during Gemini season, all about 2 things and like sets of things and doubling things, and both in many ways actually I feel like complementing each other in terms of the significance of the transit and the overall function that would be associated with that interplanetary dynamic. Like we have Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune in cardinal signs. This is the like initiatory energy. This is what's happening, and it's about dissolving boundaries and barriers and overcoming restrictions in order to grow or to move forward. And then we also have Mars and Uranus in a square. That is some type of radical change or breakthrough or breaking up stagnation that has been holding us back, limiting us, or detaching us from our worth, our value, or our ability to see, cultivate, and actualize our potential somehow. So, you know, a lot of tension represented obviously through 2 congruent simultaneous squares with all of these big planets. And it's funny because that's like 5 planets also, and 5 is a number that is associated with dynamic change. But that's what this is ultimately pushing for. And we know that we are at this very transitional point in time generally, this shift of ages, and this is another one of those, I think, important aspects that is coming in right now that is playing a role in that overall greater transition into the age of Aquarius, by way of how these certain times and events and situations and aspects and transits are altering our frequencies to reflect these newly emerging energies that we are transitioning into now. And it's interesting that at this point in time, we have these 2 squares or these 2 points of challenge that we're sort of being forced to deal with, to encounter, to overcome, because I do think there's also a significant karmic clearing that is going on right now. I think a lot of people are going to be dealing with various difficulties and challenges and painful situations, but the karmic burdens, the karmic loads that I think are being released as a part of whatever those experiences and situations that we are, you know, navigating, dealing with, going through right now, are bringing into our lives. Like there is something about it that is actually releasing us to break cycles and begin to move in some vastly different direction that we will find ultimately is somehow fulfilling or valuable or leads to a greater expression of just our potential on some level somehow. That is just the way that things seem to be written in the stars right now, and overcoming what has held us back, breaking out of limiting belief systems and mindsets. And, you know, again, like I said, this whole karmic element of things, this whole Chiron energy that has been so strongly woven into everything that's been playing out since we had that full moon in Sag, which was also a grand fire trine featuring Mars and Leo and Chiron and Aries, and we had the moon in Sag. Like this is a point of karmic clearing. It's going to be going on now and throughout the course actually of Mars's Mars's transit through the sign of Virgo, because remember what we have in Virgo right now, you guys. We have the South Node in Virgo. That means that as of tomorrow, when Mars enters Virgo, which we're going to get to in a little bit, we are going to have Mars approaching the South Node. The South Node is also a point that represents karmic release. So we're about to be moving through a process of like active karmic release and personal change. And it's just so interesting that karmic release and personal change would also be such strong features of the way that energy seems to be testing us and the various, you know, situations that are likely to present as this Mars-Uranus square dynamic plays out. as well. So there could be a lot of challenges going on right now. This is a difficult energy. Everything about this is difficult. This entire week has sort of looked like a red flag to me, but there is something, again, of like true, authentic purpose and value that will be birthed from whatever it is that we go through, endure, overcome, persevere through, or expand out of, change somehow at this point in time. Another way that this energy could manifest could be in terms of like some really surprising announcements or events that take place on a world stage level. This could also come in the form of like new technology or new ideas actually that disrupt the status quo for some reason and begin to usher in this like paradigm shift as a result of the significance of their impact on like society or the culture for some reason. Something about this energy to me is also giving like sci-fi world vibes, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is like some type of like innovation or invention or like AI, this, that, like space something, I don't know, drone, this, that, like technology, energy also, that comes along right now that really kind of indicates that things are going to start changing. And I do feel like a lot of this stuff could be things that we like haven't conceived of or like never even thought to imagine. All of a sudden, there it is. And it could be like this, honestly, I think like very surreal experiences a lot of people are about to be having. Like things are, if they haven't already over the course of this past week, because again, like I'm recording this video like basically a week prior to when this energy happens. So by the time this one comes out, we will have already moved through the full moon and the Uranus square Mars. So who knows what is yet to come for me from where I am sitting right now. Today is Tuesday of last week, whatever that day is, the 11th, I think, or the 10th. Today is the 10th, Tuesday, June 10th. And so I'm not sure, you know, what will have gone on during the Uranian energy that's coming up, but if things haven't already gotten really weird by the time this video comes out, I would not be surprised if this is just a super, super weird week. And it could honestly be like on this more existential level because of the like cosmic consciousness nature of the way that this particular energy is likely to be like tuning our frequency, especially with that Aquarius moon going on in the square to Mars and Uranus on Monday. Like this could be triggering questions regarding like the true nature of our reality, for us as an individual, for like the collective of humanity, like what is real. And you know, and this is going to be an ongoing process, I think, over the course of the next several years. I think we're going to be having a bit of a collective experience of realizing that what we had always thought to be like the complete body of human knowledge is only just barely scratching the surface somehow, and like the entire history and, you know, the recorded human story that we all sort of access and align with up until this point in time being perhaps like far skewed from what we come to realize the more accurate version of historical events and stuff like that, and like the development of time and space here in our Earth planet reality, like how things actually went and stuff like that. I think there could be a lot of just more evolved understandings and access to, I don't know, like different information or something that really just shifts and changes the way that we're looking at our reality. So that is a big picture change that is coming along with this paradigm shift that is coming in right now. And there could be like drips and drops of that coming through for sure. As we hit this energy on Monday, it does sort of feel like shattering the ceiling, like breaking the ceiling or the illusion of the perception of separation, honestly, between like us and a greater cosmic consciousness, or us and a higher power, or us and God, or us and our higher selves, in a way that, you know, like makes us question what is truly possible for us to experience moving forward, like piercing a veil, or like, again, like knocking down some wall that has previously blocked our connection to our higher selves, to a higher power. There is an evolution, I am telling you guys, in our ability to communicate with God, Great Spirit, universe, your higher self, however you personally connect to the cosmic consciousness that provides and guides. As we move into the next 7 years, there is like a direct line from the energy like to us that is trying to teach us how to utilize it, how to communicate it with it, and then how to make decisions in our lives based on the information that we are able to extract from that stream of consciousness that we have this direct connection to. And I think it's going to start around this time right now. And I'm telling you, as we begin to move into this energy, as we begin to, pick up and tune to this new frequency that, again, is going to be coming in over the next 7 years or so, things could get super weird. People, I think, are going to be tripping out, feeling like they are having this very clear experience of like God or the universe communicating directly with them in a way that is undeniable, but also in a way that can't be rationalized, can't be explained. And just know that in and of itself is probably gonna be messing with some people out there during this specific period of time, and actually now, and I would say again, like moving forward essentially into the next 7-year future. It's preparing us for this incoming Gemini-Uranus transit, which will be the awakening Uranus to the messages of the cosmos, which I think is going to be an exceptionally interesting period of time. We're going to figure out the ways that the universe speaks to us personally in our own lives. And as it gets started, I do think that a lot of this is going to be really spooky to some people. It's probably going to feel very strange to those that are unaware of this process being underway or what it even is. And it's going to be like these synchronicities and bizarre coincidences and like unexplainable events and actions, irrational impulses, extreme intuitive urges, these like undeniable signs and patterns and sudden downloads, flashes of insight. This also promotes like prophecy and blueprints coming through for design and invention, just like striking out of nowhere. So this is the type of thing that I think is going to become more prominent on an individual level from right now and throughout the course of the next 7 years. And again, that is because we have this Mars-Uranus square at 29 degrees of these fixed signs with the moon there as well, as Uranus is wrapping up this 7-year transit of the sign of Taurus during Gemini season, preparing to enter the sign of Gemini. We also have this Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune square going on at the same time, telling us about the breakdown of the past ways and beliefs and ideas about the nature of our reality. Again, we've got like simultaneous forces happening at the same time that are almost like working together, like each doing their part, each playing their role to like solve one end of the equation that ultimately gets us through this threshold to this altered frequency that aligns with this new era, this new age, this new energy, this paradigm shift that's emerging now, of which this ability to communicate with universe in a way that we can actually like extract beneficial and valuable information to apply to our lives is just like a common occurrence everyday thing. And this is also contributing to, of course, this overall transition into the age of Aquarius, which is an age of self-knowledge. This is an age of self-actualization. One of the ways that that's going to happen is through this process right here. We're going to become more reliant on our ability to communicate with ourselves, with universe, with a higher power, and be guided by that, and therefore be much more like self-propelling, like self-contained, self-regulating, like need less external support for things, because we're going to have like a more direct tap into the cosmic energy field and cosmic consciousness. So we're going to be more personally empowered in that regard to, again, like I said, I think propel our own lives forward and not need like the external resources to the same extent that perhaps we have been reliant on in the past, and that have defined this particular era and epoch of time that we are moving out of right now. So people could be very much losing their minds and going crazy, obviously, as this starts, you know, thinking that the universe is speaking directly to them because it's literally undeniable and they can't get away from it. But at the same time, it's irrational. You know, it doesn't make any sense. You can't explain it to anybody else. And for people that have, you know, been coasting through like on the slumber timeline up until this point in time, which is, you know, the vast majority of the collective of humanity. Although more and more and more people, I think, lately over this past several years, as Uranus has been transiting Taurus, have been waking up and starting to see the cracks in the facade. And this period of time right here is like really taking the sledgehammer to the mirror that was reflecting the illusion that was keeping us detached from everything that we are about to see and find and discover. Now moving forward, as we move through this upcoming period of time, Pluto also transiting through the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years, doing the same exact thing. Uranus and Gem and Pluto in Aquarius, that is like the ultimate powerhouse for awakening some higher cosmic connection. I am telling you guys, start now. Develop your personal lexicon with the universe and give it a couple years, and like everything that happens is gonna be, you know, you and your higher self consciously navigating the reality, as opposed to, you know, being steered on autopilot through subconscious programming, being, you know, within the guardrails of society and everything, as has been the nature of this matrix that we have existed within as we have transitioned through this age of Pisces, and specifically this past Pluto and Capricorn transit also that we have recently concluded as well. That was really like pinnacleizing the age of Pisces, hierarchy, schooling together, external sources of power and control, top-down approach to things. Now we are moving into a decentralized energy. The age of Aquarius is all about, again, like it's decentralization. It's not about power being held within the hands of the few and then trickling out to the many. It's about each individual discovering their own source of power, and then over time coming to a point where each individual is contributing to the overall good of the like human collective body as a whole. And as we move forward into this new energy, a lot of that is going to make a lot more sense. But we are also ascending into an eventual golden age that will come about over the course of the next 10,000 years that is providing a sort of reassurance that we are going to become more and more consciously and cosmically connected and aware from this point going forward, and we are not going to fall into the lower octaves or the more negative tendencies of the way that, you know, this Aquarian age energy could potentially manifest as well. So that was kind of a random tangent, but also it's not, because this point in time that we are going through and what we're, as these aspects are coming through right now as well, they are fundamental in moving us energetically in that new direction towards that new energy that's coming in now. And again, like a lot of people, this is going to make them question everything, their reality, seek this greater conscious understanding, seek truth. And again, like the origin point of this energy and what we've got going on right now could present a bumpy ride. Like, this is disturbing with these squares. This is harsh. This is unpredictable, volatile, everything that we've been talking about in the past few videos. Things are suddenly changing, but this karma, right? This karmic clearing that's going on right now, being rapidly dissolved. That's just what it feels like. And on Monday, it could also feel like electricity is just in the air. Everything is super keyed up with that big square going on. And as I said in the beginning, you know, being strung out, anxious, can't sleep, this like strange sense of anticipation, slowing down, staying grounded, trying not to rush is recommended. The accident prone nature of this energy can really be triggered when we are not paying attention because we're rushing and getting ahead of ourselves and, you know, spiraling out of control. So the more that we can pace ourselves, slow ourselves down, and just try not to feel too frantic in this energy, you're gonna get a better outcome that way. You're also going to get a better outcome if you are making personal changes right now, if you are pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, if you are doing something that you have always wanted to do but perhaps been too afraid or felt unworthy of. This is the time to do it. This is what this energy is for. Rediscovering yourself, reclaiming your authenticity, reclaiming your creativity, taking some bold action to switch things up, to redesign your life, to reinvent yourself. That is what is going to be supported in this energy. You know, that phrase that everyone always says, be the change you wish to see in the world. This is when we do that. Be the change that you want to see in your own life this week. Take action, try something new, do something different, face down that fear, expand your horizons, blast or push through past limitations of what you thought was possible for yourself. Open yourself to the potential of old or lost dreams coming true. These two squares are sort of a brutal energetic assault, okay? But it's a necessary force for whatever reason. This is what has to happen to generate this true and lasting change, or to push us over the line or through that threshold somehow. So Monday's another fireworks display, you guys. Things are blowing up, popping off, changing on a dime. We are also going to be, I do think, more fine-tuned and refined energetically. As we move into the energy of Tuesday, and now as we experience Mars's transit through the sign of Virgo that we have coming up here again. And I do think, like, pay attention, because you may start to have these strange experiences where it feels like universe or God is speaking directly to you through various things going on, whether it's some type of symbol or pattern or song or conversation or some type of information that comes through your news feed, something that somebody says, some sudden talk or presentation or podcast that you just randomly stumble across. Recognize the patterns. And as I said earlier, this is a really great time to begin cultivating your cosmic lexicon, learning the ways that God, universe, great spirit is communicating directly with you, being an active participant in this process, and understanding that the language that you speak to the universe in is not going to be the same as anyone else's language. It's going to be completely unique and individualized. So whereas you might like come to find that seeing or hearing or feeling or smelling or sensing some particular thing has some specific meaning to you, that exact same thing might have a totally different meaning to somebody else. So this is going to be like an extremely personalized experience that a lot of us are going to be going through. And don't be surprised if you aren't doing this already, if you do start finding that you got a friend out there, and universe, God, higher power, cosmic consciousness, however, your higher self, like wherever you connect in to that, you know, stream or source of life force energy is making time for you. So there's that dimension of the energy. Okay, now on Tuesday, as I've said, this is when we have the vibe shift go on. We have Mars leave Leo, enter the sign of Virgo, where he's going to be until September. This is also breaking the exact square to Uranus. Uranus remains at the 29th degree of Taurus until July 7th, I believe. That is, I think, when I saw that Uranus is entering the sign of Gemini. So in the beginning of July, this shift is coming through, and right now we have Mars entering the sign of Virgo, another Mercury ruled sign. It's funny also that this is happening during Gemini season right now, as we are talking about this enhanced Gemini energy that is about to be a part of our lives and reality coming forward now, or this more evolved Gemini energy, actually, with that's what the Uranian function is going to do. It's going to like bring the communication component of our lives and reality like into the future. There are going to be some off the wall like communication tech advances that come in with this transit as well. But anyways, I don't want to, like, we have so much time to talk about Uranus in the sign of Gemini. Right now we need to talk about Tuesday and Mars entering the sign of Virgo. That is going to cool things down a bit. That is going to ground things out. This is mutable Earth. We are going from Mars in fixed fire, the sign of the sun, to Mars in mutable Earth, the sign of Mercury. And that is practical and also a much more considerate use of our energy. It's about getting things done, being productive. That is the name of the game here. And also, again, it is much more refined and like sophisticated and purposeful in the expression of the intent and the energy. So the shift could feel quite radical, going from this super lit up, on fire, everything's ablaze, burn it all down, explosion, eruption, volatility, dynamism, impulse, recklessness, woo, wilding out type of vibe that we've had going on. And now all of a sudden Mars moves into Virgo and there's like classical music playing in the background. And it's like, I am so sorry, you guys. There's like the noises. I cannot even tell you how frustrating it has been for me to record this video throughout the course of the day. I had some scheduling conflicts that I wasn't aware of that like totally sidelined my ability to get this video recorded when I initially started out about like 5 hours ago now. As a result of that, I wasn't able to finish my video in the allotted time that I had prepared to do my video today. Ever since I got up at like 6 o'clock this morning, I'd been prepping to do a video during a certain window period of time, and there came up a scheduling conflict in that exact window period of time that I wasn't aware of. And then I got to start the video, and then I had to, like, I got like, I don't know, like 20 minutes in or something like that. You might be able to see where the lighting changes in the video. And then I had to shut it off. And then I had to, because of the way that things worked out, I missed my window because my son had his Little League playoff baseball game tonight. And I obviously was super excited and like wanted to be there. And, you know, we had that going on as well, which he won. But I had to leave and go to that. And I was supposed to have my video finished before then. Nope. Didn't happen at all. And so then as soon as we got back from the game at like 7 o'clock at night, I'm like, okay, I gotta get this video done. And I sit down to record this video, which is the current recording that is on right now. And now there's like this big construction crew with this huge truck that's right outside, like at the property next door. I have no idea what they're doing, but they're just like, it sounds like they're just backing it up and driving it forward and filling it with heavy stuff and crashing around. And I'm sure they're doing something very necessary and purposeful with the big truck out there right now. By this point, it's like 8:30 p.m. And it's so funny. Again, like, I don't know if you guys watched, I don't know if it was my last video. I think it may have been my last video. But my video for, Uranus and Mars coming into no, it was the full moon video, that there was like this big storm that rolled through right when I was shooting the video, and my air conditioner was broke, so, which it's still broke actually, so it's still hot. But that day it was like really, really hot. And I was saying that the video, as I was recording it, was super reflecting exactly the energy that I was talking about, literally down to like the fact that I'm sitting here recording and it just like this storm rolls through like right during the window period, the couple hour window period of time that I had set to record. It went from being a beautiful sunny day to like a fierce thunderstorm, and there's like lightning strikes crashing right in front of me and like thunderclaps going off and like pouring rain all throughout the course of the video. And then by the time I get to the end of the video, it's like a sunshiny day again. And it was so funny because it was a Mars-Uranus video, which Uranus is the lightning planet, and that's like exactly that type of stuff coming out of nowhere, like the storm coming out of nowhere, lightning strikes the tower, bam, free fall, sudden change, things that you weren't expecting coming out of left field. And so it was funny because that video was like that. And now this video today that I'm recording, talking about the same themes, except for how Uranus is accentuating this how the moon in Aquarius, I meant to say, is accentuating this Mars-Uranus square, while we have this Jupiter-Saturn square going on as well. And this video for me has been another journey of like extreme frustration, because like I'll get in this role and like I know what I'm talking about and I'm focused and I'm like clear and it's coming through, and then there'll be a big truck with a big load, beep, 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 driving by, and I'm just like, or a sudden scheduling conflict that comes up and I have to stop everything I'm doing and tend to it in that moment that I wasn't expecting, and I'm like, so I can't stop this video anymore. It's literally like pushing 9 o'clock at this point in time. I started recording at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so it's been hours that I've been trying to get this done, and I've gotten interrupted so many times. That's another thing that I should say though, like, so I'm sorry if there's crashing and banging and trucks and this, like, I'm not even gonna try at this point in time. The noises win. I'm sorry if it's too annoying and you need to click off. My apologies, but it just is what it is. And like, there's nothing I can do anymore at this point. And if you find yourself in that type of situation on Monday, like, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you have tried all day to set yourself up for success, to plan everything just right so that you could succeed when the moment came for you to like step up to the plate. Okay, it's funny, I keep using these like baseball metaphors, a left field and step up to the plate too, when we had our playoff championship, the championship game. We won, by the way. I can't remember if I said that or not. So we have a championship game on Thursday, 13-0 actually. It was a bit of a blowout. My son's team played really, really well. So that and now I'm just distracting myself. So anyways, if you find yourself experiencing frustrations, and like no matter how hard you try to set yourself up for success or get things done or stick to the plan or accomplish a goal or a task with this Saturn Jupiter square going on and the Mars Uranus, like, it just is what it is. Like, it can't be forced. Like, there's just nothing that can be done. Like with my situation right now today, trying to record this video, like, it should have been such a simple process, you know, like I was super prepared. I had planned all day. I had a specific window period time, gave myself more than enough time, was all ready to go when that window opened, and then just nope, not happening. And like, even as I have tried to resume the video, it's just like, nope, you're just not going to get a empty, nice, quiet background today to do your video. So I guess my lesson here is that sometimes you just got to push through and go to the flow and apologize for the background noise, because there's just nothing I can do about it. And if you find yourself in that type of situation, which you might, I don't know, maybe my story helps you adjust or roll with the punches or surrender to just not being able to for some reason, or maybe come up with some type of creative solution to get around whatever it is. But that is what this is presenting, like Saturn, Jupiter. This is obstructions and limitations and frustrations to our ability to like do what we need to do. And then Mars and Uranus, this is unexpected blockages, challenges. The moon in Aquarius also, you know, could be to our ability to communicate, get a message across. I also am talking about these very Aquarian themes in this video right now as well. So that would make sense too. So anyways, the moon is going to be transiting through the sign of Pisces on Tuesday as well, while Mars enters Virgo and is going to trine Mercury in Cancer on Tuesday. This is also a more harmonious flow. So, you know, we've got Mars entering Virgo, grounding things out, stabilizing things, cooling it down, simmering it down, de-escalating, making things maybe just feel a bit more calm and realistic somehow. And then we've got this beautiful fusion synastry between the feelings and the thoughts, the emotions and the ideas working together. So that is helping us to, I think, regain our footing to some extent as well. And then also on Tuesday, we have the sun in Gemini forming an exact sextile with Chiron in the sign of Aries. Again, like this karmic vibe here that is also going on. Healing, processing, extracting wisdom and understanding from experiences that we've gone through, learning and taking action perhaps to heal or to release or to overcome something, this karmic turning point. Healing the self-perception, the self-identity somehow with Chiron in the sign of Aries, and perhaps through information, conversations, what we're thinking, or maybe also that tap to universe. There could be information or sources or perspectives being delivered on a platter to you somehow in the energy of Tuesday as well. Mars in the sign of Virgo, this is also ruled by Mercury, and it's super interesting. Another thing that we should address in the context of now having Mars in the sign of Virgo, there are some astrologers who believe, and modern astrology tends to lean this way as well, that Chiron actually holds a level of rulership over the sign of Virgo. This is because Chiron is associated, the wounded healer, teacher, master archetype, and it's like the Chiron holds the evolved healing energy of the Virgo archetype. And so there is, a body of thought that suggests that Chiron plays a role in ruling the sign of Virgo. And with Mars now in Virgo and Chiron in Aries, if we perceive things from that perspective, or if we allow that to be a thing, which in a lot of ways it does resonate because of the healing nature of both of those energies and how those energies mature things. Like Chiron is the wounded healer teacher. This is the hero's journey. This is alchemy and transmutation. This is taking the base instinctual ego nature of something and transmuting, alchemizing, refining it to a point of mastery. And Virgo energy also is about the harvest. It's about how I'm sorry guys, this background sounds, hopefully you don't hear it as loud as I do, but it's hard to imagine that you wouldn't. So sorry about that. It's unbelievable to me. But Chiron or Virgo is also about the harvest. It's also about taking things and refining them, maturing them, bringing them to a state where they can be harvested and cultivated, or cultivating them to a state where they can be harvested and where they then represent some type of value. Virgo also has to do with money and resources. Chiron also has to do with true wealth and value. So there's a lot of correlations between Chiron and Virgo, and that's why a lot of times there's a synastry between the two. And so there is a mutual reception, flare, vibe type of situation that goes on with Chiron and Aries and Mars in the sign of Virgo. And as a result of that, I do think that especially this next couple of months could really emphasize a period of self-refinement playing out. And with the sun in Gemini today, you guys, in the sextile to Chiron and Mars entering Virgo, and also the moon and Mercury in a trine in water signs, we could be figuring out in this energy what aspects of ourselves perhaps we feel and are beginning to think that we maybe need to work on or refine somehow. Super interesting though, and strange start to the week, but things definitely should become less inflamed once we get to Tuesday, specifically Tuesday into Wednesday. How we end the week is probably going to be much different than how we start the week. And Mars Virgo, Uranus at 29 Taurus, we are preparing for training. There is something new that we are going to be learning. And again, I do think that it is going to have to do with Mars and Virgo, could have to do with the body, but with Uranus about to enter the sign of Gemini, it's probably going to have to do with awakening to some new ways of using our mind and thinking as well. Now, I want to bring up a couple of symbols that we've got going on as we hit this energy on Tuesday. The sun will be at 27 degrees of Gemini. That Sabian symbol is a gypsy emerging from the forest. And of course, we have Chiron at 27 Aries. Through imagination, a lost opportunity is regained. It is time to step out of the shadows and into the light and to reclaim what has always been ours to experience. Something that was originally meant for us, whether we know it or not, is gonna come back once we get to the point in time where we are ready to embrace and accept it. And it is going to lead us into a phase of life that is much more purposeful, much more fulfilling than what we have, and much more enlightening also, I think, than what we have probably seen and experienced so far. So that's what I got, you guys, for our astrology report today. We got a tarot message to get into, and then I'm going to get a synchronicity card and shut this video down because this one has been a comedy show on my end. In terms of the reading that we've got going on today, we have the Four of Wands in reverse. We have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Ace of Cups, and we have the Sun card. I don't know why I can't find my words, but it feels like if something, like, again, the same theme of shaky foundations, okay, divestments, like things that we've been committed to, what has been solid and stable and secure and represented perhaps an element of peace and harmony in our lives somehow may seem to be falling away right now, or there may have been a choice or a decision that we were caught in between about whether to hold on to something that had represented security or stability for us in the past, but maybe just was not providing the level of fulfillment that we had expected it to, or that we realize we need at this point of our lives now. And there could have been like a juggling that was going on between like, should I stay or should I go, having to do with something from the past. This energy is saying, you guys, there seems to have been a decision made, and it is in the context of a new emotional beginning, okay? And so if that is your situation, and I'm speaking to a specific scenario where you are divesting resources or time or energy or commitment to a situation somehow, and it has been something maybe that you've been struggling with or going back and forth about, but you feel like you have come to terms with a decision that is destabilizing your reality, perhaps. This reading is saying that it's going to bring like that new beginning, that choice, that stability, whatever you're walking away from or pulling out of right now, that represents this new emotional beginning. Like, it's saying that it is essentially going to be like both emotionally fulfilling and like feed your soul on some level. Like, it is going to bring you into the light. You know what I mean? Like Ace of Cups and the Sun card together. This is a rebirth in the most best and beautiful ways. Like, this is potential to like literally come back to life in some way, or to like reignite something in yourself. The Sun is like this highly creative energy as well. It's what makes everything grow and blossom and bloom. Like, this is a very positive indication that if you are in that type of situation where you've been just struggling with the decision about whether you should remain committed or invested in something, or whether you would be better off sacrificing the stability or the security to embrace like some new beginning, it's saying that there is likely to be a positive outcome that's associated with that. So again, like the end of an established period of time, but the direction that we're heading towards is actually going to be something that lights us up, brings us back to life, and is in many ways much more fulfilling than perhaps whatever it was that we had experienced in the past. Now I'm going to get one more card. It is a synchronicity card. I'm going to ask God, Spirit, Universe for one final piece of guidance or advice. What do we need to know? What would we benefit from? What should we keep in mind as we move throughout the course of this energy? What should we tell ourselves? What should we remember? We have a very specific card tonight, you guys. It's going to require lots of shuffling. We need lots of shuffling in order for the right card to come out. So we're just going to take our time. All day apparently is about just kicking back and taking your time. So if you need to refill your drink, if you need a snack, I'll just be sitting here shuffling. No worries, take your time. We literally still haven't gotten a card. So I'll just shuffle again. And if you guys watch my channel, like if you guys watch the show, you know that usually after at least, like I never have to shuffle these cards more than maybe 3 times. That's the type of day it is today. Oh, looky there. We got 2 cards that come out. What's the first card that we have, you guys? What does it say? Don't fight it. All right. So just like I was saying earlier, and these are probably, well, these clearly are very specifically for me in this moment, and hopefully they apply well to you guys out there as well. But again, I feel like I'm being memed by the universe right now. It says don't fight it and God's the boss. So we'll read don't fight it first. Release those subject to bondage, Hebrews 2:15. Whatever type of restriction or bondage you find yourself experiencing, don't fight against it mentally. Know God will open up a new door for you and lead you to peace and freedom. So if you find yourself coming up against something that is giving you frustration, or anything generally over this couple of days, apparently don't fight it. And also God's the boss. Who then is that faithful and wise steward? Luke 12:42. You must do your job joyously and faithfully in the knowledge that God is your boss. Your subconscious will then respond and promote you and remove obstacles to your success. Have a constructive vision, be faithful to your vision, show respect for authority, and you will be prospered along all lines. So might be a good couple of days to just, you know, surrender it to a higher power if things get to the point where they are just don't seem to be going your way. And our advice is don't fight it and God's the boss, you guys. So that's what I have to say. Made it to the end. It was a rough one today. And if I made it through this video today, you guys, let me tell you, you can make it through as well. And I don't mean to like trivialize or minimize anything that anyone is going through, because obviously me recording this video is not the end of the world. And a lot of people are going to be going through a lot more, you know, difficult situations. But I did have, you know, one significant thing I needed to get done today besides going to the baseball game, and that was this video. And by golly, I got it done, even if it took literally like 8 hours when it was supposed to take 2 hours. We did it, and so now there's that. So that's what I have to say today, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would also like to participate in my AubreeStars comedy show. And leave me comments, you guys. I am so grateful for your presence on my channel. Thank you so much for being here. As I said, I genuinely am so grateful to have you guys to talk about this stuff with. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in my videos, drop me a comment. Let me know in my comment section below. Let me know if you too are experiencing things along these lines throughout the course of your week this week. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of those boards, linked in my description box below, and that's where you'll find that. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. We will be picking up where we left off. I am looking forward to having a more normal video again. As I've said, this past couple videos has been a little bit bumpy, and actually I've only been talking about the energy that's coming in. My next couple videos I'll actually be recording during the weekend that Mars and Uranus are in the square. So Hopefully it goes great and everything is smooth sailing from here on out, and I guess we'll find out in the next video. So you don't want to miss that, you guys. Come back with me. I will see you then. Have a beautiful introduction to your week, and until next time, bye guys.